Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Morning, Morgan.
Hey, Envy. So look, you know you like to start with sports. So you heard about what happened with New York Knicks coach?
Yes, Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, so he got fired after 5 seasons. So the team announced on Tuesday that Thibodeau led New York to its first Eastern Conference Finals appearance this year for the first time, of course, since 1999 in the 2000 season, from 99 to 2000s. In his 5 seasons with the Knicks, he won 226 regular season games, and the team went 24-23 in 4 postseason appearances. Now, the 2021 NBA Coach of the Year led the Knicks to consecutive 50-plus win seasons for its first time since the 1990s. Now, Thibodeau has been an NBA coach since 2010 between New York, the Bulls, Chicago Bulls, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. So what do you think about this move?
I think it was needed, although Thibodeau was probably the most winningest coach since 1999. I just felt like there was a lot of things that he did that he was exposed during these playoffs that I think should have been handled a lot better. For instance, the first game versus the Pacers. I mean, we were up 14 with a minute and change left. There's no way we lose that game. People have been real critical of the fact that he plays his players a lot. His players get a lot of minutes, and a lot of times that runs the players down. They don't have enough energy to close out. So they criticized him a lot. So I don't know who they bring in. Thibodeau, like I said, he was the winningest coach since 1999. He got us further than any coach has got us. So we'll see what the Knicks have in store as far as who's next.
All right, the building blocks. We love to hear it. Moving on. So Elon Musk's criticism of President Trump's so-called One Big Beautiful Bill is being downplayed by the White House. Yesterday, in multiple posts on X, Musk said, quote, "I am sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it." Now, he went on to post that it will massively increase the already gigantic budget deficit to $2.5 trillion. And he also said it will burden American citizens with crushingly unsustainable debt. And he went on to add that Congress is making America bankrupt. Now, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt addressed the criticism during a briefing, and here's what she had to say.
Look, the president already knows where Elon Musk stood on this bill. It doesn't change the president's opinion. This is one big, beautiful bill, and he's sticking to it.
So House Speaker Mike Johnson says Elon Musk's criticism of the Republican Party's massive tax cuts and spending bill is very disappointing and terribly wrong. Now, Johnson shared that he spoke with the tech billionaire on Monday and told reporters Elon is missing it, but he noted that it's not personal. Now, Musk's criticism also comes just days after his White House departure as a special government employee for DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. Meanwhile, not all Senate Republicans are on board with Trump's so-called One Big Beautiful Bill as well. Marjorie Taylor Greene posted on X that she didn't know about the part of the bill that strips the states' rights to make laws or regulate AI for 10 years, adding that she is adamantly opposed to that because we have no idea what AI will be capable of in the next 10 years. Now, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul says he's a no unless the bill is changed to cut down the deficit more. Let's take a listen to his comments.
You know, I think there are 3 or 4 of us. If there are 4 of us who want it to be more fiscally conservative, I think we can reduce the spending levels and perhaps separate out the debt ceiling as well. But it takes 4 people with courage, and 4 people with courage can make the bill into anything we want it to.
He also posted on X that we can and must do better. And Utah Senator, also Republican, Mike Lee wrote, the Senate must make this bill better. Again, the multi-trillion-dollar tax and spending package narrowly passed the House and Senate, and the Senate is taking up the measure this week, where Republicans can only afford to lose 3 votes. Now, Trump went after Paul on social media, posting that he has very little understanding of the bill. Democrats say the bill cuts Medicaid and other social safety nets by billions of dollars, and Republicans are saying there are much needed reforms to the bill and that it will cut the deficit. Of course, we, the American people, are waiting to see what Congress is going to do. There's a projected July 4th deadline to get this measure passed and on the president's desk. So yeah.
I do like the fact that he did check the president, or he's not, I shouldn't say check the president, but he's going against the president, right? Because everybody's saying everybody on the president's team rides with him and dies with him, and whatever he says goes, and he's saying, I don't like this bill. And it's weird that he's not riding for the bill, because it seems like the bill is beneficial to a lot of millionaires and billionaires. So the fact that he's saying he doesn't like the bill, it makes me smile a little bit, because he's going against what what people are assuming or think that he would go for.
Well, he just spent 130 days, thinking that he just rooted out waste, fraud, and abuse. So I'm sure he felt like he wasted his time.
That's right.
But that's your 6 a.m. Front page news. At 7 a.m., we'll talk about what's happening with ICE. So stick around.
All right. Everybody else, get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, phone lines are wide open. Again, 800-585-1051. And the gang will be here in a second. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning. Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Now, if you missed it earlier, Morgan broke down that the Knicks fired head coach Tom Thibodeau after 5 seasons. It was 5 winning seasons, but they feel like he wasn't a great fit. So.
How do you feel about that?
I do feel that Thibodeau, I feel like he worked his players a lot. I felt like he didn't trust the bench. The game one where they lost the Pacers, I felt like that was a coaching problem. You can't be up 14 and lose with a minute and change left.
You can't trust what you don't have, though. Hey, everybody say you can't trust the bench. If they had the bench players, they would have been playing them. Like the Celtics can go 9 deep. The OKC Thunder can go 9 deep. The Pacers can go 9 deep. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. It's like penis.
Wow.
Oh
I'm serious. When somebody tell you go deeper and you ain't got it to go deeper.
Yeah.
But when you do see players on other teams and they're doing well and they were our bench players like Obi Toppin and even McBride, it took him a long time to get him out.
Toppin was young though, and that system.
It was a year later, and he's busting ass and he's doing well.
That might not have been the system for him though.
Yeah, but they never even played him. And then you got that new white boy that's shooting threes like crazy. I don't know if he's white or what his background is. I can't even think of the man's name. But we found out in the last couple of games that he could actually shoot. So we'll see what happens. But what's up, Morgan?
Well, what's up is congratulations to y'all because apparently, y'all acted. I mean, you sad on one thing, but getting 1 billion podcast downloads and counting, that's something to celebrate, right?
Hey.
Drop a clues bomb on yourself and big up yourself.
Yes,
all right.
That's pretty dope. And shout out to all the listeners for supporting, riding, and listening to us. If it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't be here. And we appreciate y'all every day. You know what happened.
Reached 1 billion.
1 billion what?
And counting.
1 billion what?
1 billion listens.
No, it's not.
For our podcast.
You know, 1 billion downloads on the podcast.
Oh, 1 billion downloads.
Okay,
yo.
that's what's up. Congratulations to the Breakfast Club. Took us long enough.
All right. In other news, family members of the man charged in the fire attack on Israeli hostage supporters in Colorado have been arrested by ICE. Now, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said the wife and 5 children of Mohammed Sabri Salman have been taken into custody to find out if they were involved or knew about the attack in any way. They are also being processed for expedited removal from the United States. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem made the announcement. Let's take a listen.
Today, the Department of Homeland Security and ICE are taking the family of suspected Boulder, Colorado terrorist and illegal alien Mohammed Salman into ICE custody.
How do you hate people more than you love your family? Like if you got a wife and 5 kids, why would you throw that all away just because of your bigotry and your prejudice towards another group? I don't understand that logic. Makes no sense.
So this comes as Salman is in the United States illegally from Egypt. He faces federal and state charges after at least 12 people were hurt in Sunday's attack. Now, police said Salman dressed as a gardener to get close to protesters when he used a makeshift flamethrower and Molotov cocktails on the crowd. Now, this story does inspire me on a personal note to encourage everyone to check on their family and the mental well-being of those around you, because if something like this can happen, you could be considered guilty by association. This is crazy that the family is now being taken into custody as well. And so I would think that, that ignorance is bliss era has left, and you better know what you need to know.
Yeah, and your actions always impact your family. I didn't know that they could do something like this, go arrest your whole family because of, something that you did.
That's crazy.
Because I don't see how they would be accomplices. But yes, what you do does impact your whole family in more ways than one.
Yeah, so, check in with your loved ones, y'all. Speaking of ICE, the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, is suing one of President Trump's top lawyers over his arrest at an ICE facility last month. Now, Baraka filed the federal lawsuit against interim U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Alina Habba, on Tuesday, accusing her of defamation and false arrest. Let's take a listen to those comments from Baraka.
All right, I was cuffed, fingerprinted, took pictures of twice. Once there and once in court for a Class C misdemeanor, which you send summons to people for. You don't lock them up and take their fingerprints. Trespass is a state offense. It's not a federal offense. These guys need to find out the law before they begin running their mouth about what is right and what is wrong.
So just to note that trespassing can be a federal offense when it comes to when it involves federal property and restricted areas. So I anticipate much of this court case will come down to whether or not Mayor Baraka had access to that ICE facility. Now, he responded to criticism of his actions by Trump Administrator Border Czar Tom Homan, saying he may have to sue him too. And of course, all of this comes as Baraka was taken into custody outside an ICE detention center when he and members of Congress demanded answers about the facility's conditions. He was charged with trespassing, but the case was later dropped by HABA. A federal judge criticized HABA's office for the arrest during a hearing last month, saying it suggests a worrying misstep. Switching gears, the first black mayor of Tulsa, Oklahoma, is proposing a multi-million-dollar reparations plan for descendants of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. Mayor Monroe Nichols says one can only imagine what the Greenwood District, once known as Black Wall Street, could have contributed to the region had there never been a massacre. And of course, he's looking to establish a private trust that would be used to provide scholarship and housing to the descendants of those impacted by the bloodshed. Let's take a listen to his comments.
Imagine what it would have meant for outcomes for our children. Imagine what it would have meant for public safety, and most importantly, imagine the trust and faith we would have built in each other over these last 104 years. My office has been working alongside our legal department on the establishment of the Greenwood Trust, a private charitable trust that will raise and facilitate the investment of $105 million in private funds along our road to repair, restoration, and righteousness.
So Nichols says the trust will not involve direct cash payments, and the city council would have to approve the transfer of any city assets to it. The push comes just weeks after Democratic Congresswoman Summer Lee of Pennsylvania announced plans to introduce the Reparations Now resolution, which calls for the U.S. to spend trillions of dollars on reparations for Black Americans. I know we've had this conversation many a times about what reparations could look like for Black Americans. So you guys have any thoughts? All right.
Well, that's your front page. Reparations, yo.
Yeah, nah, yeah, we not going to until we get out. Just
You just woke up, Jess?
Please shut up, Charlamagne.
All right, y'all. So that's your front page news. Y'all can follow me on socials at Morgan Media. For more news for coverage, follow at Black Information Network. Download the free iHeartRadio app and visit us at BINnews.com. Can we get some of them downloads at BIN, y'all? I'm just saying.
Thank you, Morgan.
Wake that ass up. Early in the morning. The Breakfast Club.